In this locked shed are some of the stone angels and saints recovered in the investigation. Ted Brennan's mother Cabrini is here, but detectives believe these are just a few of what was stolen by the suspects now under arrest.
It's tough. I mean, we don't have any serial numbers on these things, and it makes it tough, but if they can give us a good description, tell us what tomb it came off of, there's chances that we could match it back to the tomb.
Over the past year, the detectives have been trying to find the rightful owners. They've held open houses, asking anyone who's been a victim of cemetery theft to come and look at all the carefully tagged items gathered as evidence.
This is my lady holding a cascade of roses. She's so pretty. They broke the fingers on her hand. And I have a little piece of the marble that was broken off there. That's just a hole in my heart that will never go away. When the second statue was found, this is our picture. He's now called Huggy Bear because I was hugging him. I was so excited that they found my statue.
Lucille Prima was one of the lucky ones. She was delighted when the detectives recovered both of her stone angels. But more than that, Mrs. Prima will always be grateful for what the detectives did after the angels were found.
I had the pleasure of having a preview of what it will look like when my daughter-in-law died in November. Detective Green said that he would see if he could get the statues back for her funeral. I was very thankful.
We knew there were evidence, that the statues were evidence. We couldn't break the chain of evidence, so we got permission from our lieutenant, who went to the captain and then went to the public affairs office, and we got all permission all the way up to allow us, including the DA's office, and to bring the statues out to her tomb and place them out on a tomb just for that burial date.
Actually, for the funeral service, when we came up, we looked and there was the whole group, the whole division, all the detectives lined up at the corner, and everybody was whispering, "Who are they?" And I said, "That's my special service, secret service event."
They were only up there for maybe an hour or so, but that was just long enough, and it was really a really nice thing.
After the cemetery theft case is brought to trial, Mrs. Prima's angels will be returned to the tomb permanently. But hundreds of other items, torn from unknown tombs, may never go back where they belong.
If we can't find anybody to claim them and can't prove that they are the true owners of these items, then we're going to have to either release them back to the antique dealers, or the government might seize them pending further investigation.
I think that you have to have a little lead in your heart to go into somebody's personal grieving area and to pull something off of it. You have to be a little cold to do that.
Shocked by the cemetery thefts, the New Orleans City Council has responded by passing a new city ordinance, and the legislature has made it state law. Theft of any cemetery artifact is now officially grave desecration. Antiques dealers who acquire a cemetery artifact must show that it was legally obtained, and they cannot sell it for 1 month after they acquire it, giving the police time to review the paperwork. Dealers are not allowed to accept an artifact they know or should know is stolen, and the punishment is a fine of up to $500 and up to 6 months in jail.
What it does is it adds antique dealers and secondhand dealers to the list of individuals that must report when someone sells them or when they purchase an artifact. What that does is it gives the police department an opportunity to track, a mechanism to track what they're purchasing and match what may be missing in grave sites.
When they have to report, the market's going to dry up. When they have to hold it for so many days, the market's going to dry up. And then the thieves won't have any place to sell it. When they don't have any place to sell it, they're not going to steal it.
The criminals hopefully will see and say, you know what, it's not worth it. I don't want to go to jail. And obviously in New Orleans, they're watching.
The New Orleans police believe they've stopped most cemetery theft in New Orleans. But there's one thing they can't stop: the demand for cemetery artifacts to decorate private homes, a demand that stretches from New York to Los Angeles.
It is a nationwide problem. It's very important to us because our cemeteries are so open and people use them as a tourist attraction. But while we have found things in Texas and California, we've also heard of thefts outside of Louisiana in places like Georgia and Alabama.
Right now, federal authorities are investigating the trade in stolen cemetery artifacts across state lines. They believe it's an interstate and international problem. But when the dead have no one to speak for them, when the families that built these tombs are gone, it's even easier for thieves to pick a tomb clean. Here in New Orleans, Mary Lou Kristovich with Save Our Cemeteries has begun a project to document all the tombs in the city-owned cemeteries.
There's a program that Save Our Cemeteries is instrumental in doing right now, and that's to go back with all the photographs that have been done of the city cemeteries for 100 years. Some of our very best photographers have availed themselves of these wonderful monuments as the subjects for their photographs.
Now the council has done what it has to do, the legislature has done what it has to do, and what's essential now is that people participate.
If somebody offers you cemetery art, it's probably stolen. Don't buy it.
I've had so many people come up to me and say the same thing. They're still saying it. I had things stolen, and I never did anything about it. And I tell them that's all you have to do is go to the police. It's so simple.
So you can film it with a camera, you can film it with a video camera, document it on paper, and send those items in, you know, to the cemetery. And if something is stolen, report it immediately.
I have learned that decided to put the pictures of the statues and the tomb in with the deed of the tomb. So they'll be handed down from one generation to the next.
You have smaller angels. They're for children. And I mean, you know, that's something when your child dies, and I would hope you would never wish that on anybody. Some people, that's the only thing they have to hold on to is that angel represents the child that lays within. Anybody that has these things in their possession, you need to give them back. If you don't even, you know, if you don't want to turn yourself in, get your lawyer. We've had lawyers turn this stuff in. Or just drop it off one night and call the police and say, hey, look, it's here. You know, but it's more important to get them back than it is to pursue charges against anybody for being in possession.
It really is impossible to have any kind of discussion about the cemeteries without going back to the rich religious heritage that New Orleans has.
After this investigation, you know, I don't think there is luck or coincidence anymore. I think everything's done for a reason.